YouTube family, it is your girl Queen Right. I uploaded my weight loss update video just a few minutes ago, and I wanted to talk to you guys about bipolar disorder, depression, and mania as it occurs in bipolar disorder. And the reason I'm going to talk to you guys about this today is because a young YouTuber who I subscribe to actually gave his story on his video. Mental illness in the Black community is oftentimes not acknowledged. So, therefore, people do not seek treatment. Another thing also is it's the stigma that goes along with mental illness, mental disorders. My bipolar disorder, and actually up until when I was diagnosed. You guys, so I am 42 years old now. I was diagnosed bipolar, I want to say about 12 years ago when I was 30, maybe 30, between 30 and 32, from I can recall, yes. Um, and of course, I had been experiencing symptoms long before then. It was just at that time when I was 30, 32 that I sought help because my symptoms were really severe. I believe that knowing now what the symptoms of bipolar disorder is, and knowing how it affects you, I am almost certain that my first symptoms of bipolar were probably when I was 16 years old. There was a time when this was around the time when my sister and I had graduated from high school, and my mom had actually moved out of the house and basically left us to fend for ourselves. I ended up going to, well, my sister ended up going to live with her boyfriend at his grandmother's house, and I actually stayed around really. I spent some time in Pomona with a longtime friend of my mom's, and some time with somebody that I was seeing at the time. I wouldn't say he was my boyfriend. That lasted for maybe about a year or two, just going from here to there, not really having my roots into anything. Anyway, during that time, I was very suicidal. I even attempted suicide one time. However, my boyfriend was there. My friend, I might as well say boyfriend. Yeah, he was there and actually assisted me, so I wasn't successful in that. Thank God. Um, I ended up moving to Las Vegas again because, like I said, I had nowhere to stay. I went to my mom's new apartment. She stayed with my aunt, and I had stayed with them at their apartment for a couple of months. But they were always hinting at get the hell out, basically. Yeah, they were hinting at get the hell out. Basically, I didn't have a job. I had some unemployment because I had worked a bit here and there, but it wasn't really enough for me to try to get my own place on. So what happened is I actually ended up moving to Las Vegas with my grandmother. When I moved there, I stayed with my grandmother. I think it was maybe 6 months to a year, and then I got a job. I was actually started working two jobs. Um, yeah, I started working two jobs. I drank a lot. I was an alcoholic. I had turned 18, so Las Vegas, if you look old enough, they're really not going to card you. They just want you to spend your money. So I was in Las Vegas. I could always get a drink. It didn't matter. Spend a couple of dollars here or there, and you would basically get fat liquor because they want you to keep gambling. So anyway, that went on for a while. Like I stayed with my grandmother for about 6 months to a year. Then I ended up getting my own apartment in the complex that she herself lived in. So, she put in a good word for me. Um, I stayed there, I want to say maybe a year. And then my grandmother moved back to California, and not wanting to be there by myself, I moved back to California, like basically right behind her. I was basically, bouncing around, same thing here and there, here and there, here and there. I smoked weed. I smoked a lot of weed. I still drank a lot, and I was very promiscuous. So had a lot of I had a hypersexuality, which is also a symptom of bipolar hypersexuality. So I had a lot of sex, and I did a lot of I drank a lot, and I smoked a lot of weed, and cigarettes. 'Cause I smoked cigarettes and weed. Um, so yeah, I ended up staying that time when I moved back to California. I ended up staying probably about 6 months. So now 19. So I ended up moving back to Las Vegas for the reason because jobs were plentiful. I didn't have a problem finding jobs in Las Vegas, but I did have a problem finding jobs in California. So I decided to move back to Vegas, and I moved by myself. This time, however, when I moved back to Vegas, there wasn't anybody there, for me, any family or anything like that, for me to go and stay with or anything like that. And I actually ended up moving with my last unemployment check, which wasn't really, it was like maybe $100 or so. So, I packed up everything, all my belongings and everything, and I bought a one-way ticket and I moved back to Vegas. This time I lived in a hotel, and I have to thank God for the hotel manager at the hotel that I went to, because I had money, $75 or whatever, $100 to pay for the first week when I was in the room, and I was just going around looking for jobs, putting in applications, went to my old, the old stores I worked to, trying to put in applications and get jobs there. At this time, I'm sorry, y'all. My mouth is dry. I'm gonna go get some water in a second. Yeah, so I ended up moving back to Vegas. I paid for the first week. Came the second week. I didn't have any money, and all I had was my suitcase and the clothes on my back. So I actually swallowed my pride, prayed on it, and went to the hotel manager and asked him, explained to him my situation, and told him that I had, I was really, really looking for a job, and I was going to have, somebody send me some money so I could pay for the room for another week, but it was going to take some time. And he actually let me stay in the room. He actually let me stay in the room for another week without pay, without paying him. So the money came through from the friend I was expecting it with, and I also got another job. I got hired by Builder Square, which was similar to Home Depot. It was the place I was working at the first time I moved to Vegas. So the money came through. I went straight to the hotel office and paid the man and paid him for the next week, actually, because I was able to borrow more money since people knew I had a job then. So it's like, okay, give me the 2 weeks so I can get a paycheck and pay for staying at the hotel. So yeah, needless to say, he was really cool about it. He worked with me. That was a good thing. During this time though, I was still drinking a lot. I was drinking a lot. I had stopped when I didn't have the money when I first got there, because I didn't even have money, $2, $3 to go gamble with to get the free drink. So I had stopped drinking, but as soon as I got a job, I was right back on it. I was drinking till, Canadian Club. I think that was it. Canadian Club. It was my mom's drink when I used to go out, to the clubs with her or whatever. And that's what she would drink, and that was what I drank. That and wine. Of course, I like wine, White Zinfandel. Um, so yeah, I ended up staying at the hotel for a bit, long enough to save my money and go get a small apartment. Now you guys gotta keep in mind during this time. For one, even now, the cost of living in Las Vegas is very minimal. You know, back then when I'm talking about, you can get an apartment for three, four, $500 easy. No problem, whatever. Um, yeah, so I ended up getting a place, and I was drinking, drinking, drinking. Kept drinking, kept drinking. I'd meet guys and do what I did because like I said, I was promiscuous. Um, okay, so yeah, so I ended up meeting guys, and I was doing what I was doing, and I smoked weed, and a supervisor of mine, she acted at Builder Square. Actually, her name was Heidi. It was a Hispanic chick, and she was like, we got really tight. She was like my best friend. Now, so one day we were off from work. We were drinking beer and all this other stuff, and I really didn't even like beer, but I was an alcoholic, so it didn't matter. Give me the beer. So we were out drinking. We were in the park, and she has these mushrooms, right? So she's like, "Hey, you ever did mushrooms or right or whatever, right?" And I'm like, "No, I never did shrooms or whatever." She was like, "Oh, you want to try it?" So me being young, dumb, and adventurous, I'm like, "Yeah, let me try it." So did the shrooms, stayed at the park for I don't know, like forever, just looking up at the sky, and tripping and seeing all kind of animals and parades and all kind of extra stuff going on. So um, anyway, finally came down off that high, went home. Okay, yeah. So during this time, like I said, I was promiscuous. I was suicidal. At oftentimes I did have like homicidal thoughts and ideas. So I was ready to hurt somebody. I would spend money that I really had no business spending. I was self medicating because I was drinking and I was smoking and doing whatever I could to trying to dull the feelings that were inside of me. So yeah, life went on, as usual. I moved back to California again, and I ended up seeing a ex boyfriend of mine. We ended up, spending some time together doing what we do or whatever, and I actually ended up pregnant. So that's a long story in itself. But anyway, I ended up pregnant. So I'm depressed the whole time I was pregnant. I was depressed, until like the later months. And then I actually was really happy. I don't know why. It was just euphoric. I'm gonna have a baby, so I'm not spending all this money. Give me the baby clothes. Baby don't need this. He gonna need this. Gonna need that. So I'm spending money like it's water. You know, um, just on a high. Just really high, just elevated mood, just doing the damn thing. Whatever. Um, I believe it was when my son was born, when my first son was born. I was 20 when I was pregnant. I was 21 when I had him. Um, After he was born, I suffered from what they said at the time was postpartum depression. So I was very depressed. I didn't bond with my child like I should have. I did not bond with my son. Me and the ex boyfriend had got an apartment together, so we lived together when the baby was born, and he actually took care of. I mean, I took care of the kid, but the kid was more attached to him. Even though it was a boy, he was more attached to him than he was to me. So like when he was sick and I couldn't calm him down or anything like that, he go to his dad. Bam, he's cool. If he was crying out, crying, he not hungry or anything like that, and I couldn't do anything with him, he go with his dad. Bam, just great. And I'm sure that this was because he could probably sense, what was going on inside of me. Because I do believe that children can sense that, even though they may be young and they know that they may not know exactly what it is. They do know that something is not right. Your spirit is not right. All is not well. So um, I was like I said, I was really depressed after he was born. I didn't bond with him. I was scared to hold him. I didn't want to be bothered actually, but I was bothered, and I would get really pissed off and really angry when my boyfriend would go out, and hang out with his friends or whatever, and I'm stuck at home with a baby, you know. So we went on that way for about a year, and then this one night, I just kind of snapped, and I'm like, I don't have to deal with this, I argued and attacked my boyfriend, actually attacked him, and then I ended up leaving. I just left middle of the night. Mind you, we lived in Inglewood, Compton. Okay, middle of the night. So I just walk off. I'm like, I can't fucking do this. Oh, excuse my French. Oh my goodness. No, I can't do this. I don't want to be here. I don't want to. I just got to get out of here. I can't breathe. I'm suffocating. I got all these suicidal, homicidal thoughts going through my brain, and yeah, I just left. I left. So wandered around for a while. Ended up And this is a good thing. See, my mom always said that God look out for babies and ignorant folks, fools. So yeah, I was a fool at that time, and God was looking out for me because your girl was just wandering the streets, middle of the night. Anything could have happened. Um, I ended up calling my aunt, and she actually came and picked me up, and I went back to her house, and we were talking, and I'm trying to explain everything to her and what was going on and why I didn't want to be bothered, and this sort of thing. Get dinner started or assist in getting dinner started. So I am back. So let me see where he was. I had jotted down some notes while I was in there cooking because it was a couple of things I forgot to tell you guys. So I told you that I left in the middle of the night, left um, my son and his dad, and just ran off and did what I did. I was gone for a couple of weeks, and then I went back. So by that time, of course, my relationship with my boyfriend was ruined because he couldn't understand what the hell was going on with me. I would be a lot of times I'd be irritated, I'd be agitated, I would spend excessive amounts of money. I would just go on these really high highs, and I would start projects and like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to start a business. And then I go and I spend all the money and say I'm going to start a business. And then I end up getting depressed. And basically, it was a waste of money because I ended up not doing anything. And this was kind of a cycle, with bipolar disorder. You do have cycles. Some people cycle rapidly, some people cycle slowly. At this time, I cycled rapid. I cycled really fast. So I would be like, one day I'm up, let's do it. What's going on? Let's handle business and do all this. Had all this energy, and the next day I could be depressed. Just not wanting to go on. I'd have suicidal thoughts. And I would self medicate. So I would drink and smoke weed even more. So that wasn't good. Um, I had I left my dad one time. I went and I lived with my aunt in I'm going to say Pomona area. And I got a job. I was driving for Foothill Transit. I was driving the buses for Foothill Transit, and I'm sorry, y'all. I keep moving around. I'm trying to get comfortable. Hold on here. Okay, so yeah, so I started driving for Foothill Transit, and I had some really bad days. I would be go off on the passengers sometime. Sometimes I'm nice as pie. They'd be like, "Oh, she's the sweetest bus driver," and then like the next ride, I'd be like Hell's Angel or something. So I ended up losing my job there, not over, my actions, but because I had an accident and I actually rear ended somebody. And at that company, if you have a rear end accident, it's automatically your fault, basically automatic termination. So after that, um, I noticed I started cycling like even faster, even more, yeah, even more faster. So and I ended up going to see a therapist, to find out what was going on and all this stuff. Um, I wasn't diagnosed bipolar then, but I was just like major depression, basically, is what I was diagnosed with, and that's common in bipolar disorder. People are oftentimes misdiagnosed. So then that creates another problem because you don't have the same medication for depression as you do for bipolar disorder. Because depression is antidepressants, and um, that's basically for depression. But for bipolar disorder, sometimes they mix antidepressants with mood stabilizers. Most of them would be mood stabilizers. So I went on a couple of years after this. Went along fine, or at least I thought I was, and I kind of like pushed all my friends away. I lived like solo. It was just me and my oldest son sometimes, but then sometimes I sent him to live with his dad. up until the age he was 5. He was like back and forth, back and forth. Once he was, I believe he was 5 or 6, he actually went to go stay with his dad permanently. So after that, he moved out, and he moved with his dad. That was kind of like a major change, and then his dad, of course, had somebody else. I was thinking that we might get back together, but it didn't happen. He had someone else, and that kind of sent me on another trip. Basically, I was depressed, of course, and then I started cycling again, and I would cycle rapidly. Like from not as rapid because it would go like from week to week rather than from day to day. When I actually got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I was hanging out with my mom, and we went to go visit someone, and the person, okay, let me backtrack. I was abused as a child, so it was by a family, uh, a close friend of the family, I'll say. It was not the, excuse me, putting my legs up on my foot plate. It was not the aunt that I went to go live with. It was someone else. So it was not her. It was another family friend, we'll just say. So yeah, I forgot to tell you that. And then also the relationships that I was in when I was back and forth to Vegas. The guy I was with in Vegas was actually abusive too, and he actually really beat me up, kind of like, you know, um, yeah, he just beat me up. I had my eyes were black and swollen, my jaw was like out here, my lips were all busted open, and um, I didn't call the police because, of course, he's like, "Oh, if you call the police, I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm gonna kill you before they get here, and all this other stuff." So I didn't call the police. I just ended up, I couldn't drink because my lips were all busted up, but I ended up smoking. I believe smoking, and just basically passing out. When I woke up the next morning, I had been bleeding so much the sheet was stuck to my face. I had to actually peel the sheet off of my face, and that was because of all the blood. I had bled during the night, all the blood, and it had dried up, so the sheet was stuck to my face. So anyway, me and my mom are going to visit this friend of the family, shall we say. And this was actually the same person that abused me. So just some things happened, just them conversating, not really doing anything or whatever. And I just saw red, just saw red. I always carried a blade with me because um, I grew up in Compton. So let's just keep it 100. I grew up in Compton in the hood. So I always kept a blade with me. I always kept mace with me. And I just saw myself just like stabbing him up, all up in his face and everything. And it's like, you know what, Mama, come on, we got to go. We left because she saw the expression, that was on my face. So she ended up like, oh yeah, okay, well shit, maybe we better go. Something's not right. So we left, and we ended up going home. Because me and my mother, yeah, we were actually roommates at this time. We ended up going home, and I went into my bedroom, and that's where I stayed for about I stayed in my room for maybe about a week. So I wasn't going to the bathroom. I wasn't, getting up to eat or anything like that. I was basically just in the room, out of it, just like really suicidal, depressed, thinking about making suicide plans, how I was going to do it. And I had panic attacks. I had panic attacks. I had homicidal thoughts. Yeah, just homicidal thoughts and visions and all this other stuff. And it got to the point where I was really scared. So I thought I was going crazy. So I ended up going, I actually checked into a hospital. I checked into the hospital, and, we checked. They gave me a psychiatrist to talk to. They gave me, started putting me on meds. Um, at that time, oh, let me see, they put me on a lot of medication, you guys. I think I was taking antidepressants. I was taking, let's see, of course, I was taking Seroquel, I took Prozac, I took lithium, um, all kind of medications. I'd have to get that list for you guys later because I'm sure I'll make another part to this video. So I'll get all that information for you later. But yeah, then it was that time that I was diagnosed as bipolar disorder and with homicidal tendencies, with suicidal tendencies, panic attacks, and post traumatic stress disorder. That's everything that I was diagnosed with. So yeah, it was serious at this time. Uh I stayed in the hospital, I think about a week. Stayed in the hospital about a week. Um and I went home because I checked myself in. I could check myself out. So it wasn't no 5150 lock her up, she can't leave type deal. So I checked out once my doctor told me it was okay for me to do so. And I was on the meds. I was stable on the medication. I took the medication for a while, a couple of months or whatever, but I didn't like the medication helped. It helped to stabilize me. I will say that, but I did not like the side effects of the medication. Um, the uh, mm, I didn't like the side effects of the medication, and so I basically stopped. I was like, well, I feel better, so I don't need to take this medication no more. I'm cured. Basically is what I thought. I'm cured, so I don't have to take this anymore. I can do me or whatever. Um, so I stayed off the medication for a long time. Um, I ended up going. I think that what happened at this time. Oh, jeez. Oh, ponytail came on the ponytail, loose hair. Um, yeah, and yeah. So around that time, and I think it was between 30 and 32 years old. So, I didn't like the diagnosis they gave me. It kind of scared me a little bit, but I felt relieved knowing what was wrong with me, what was that it was a well-known disorder. It could be treated, it could be managed. So um about that, I wanted to give a shout out to Adam Christopher. Thank you for releasing your video and discussing your bipolar disorder. You actually gave me the courage to get on here and give my story. And you're right, it is mental disorders or mental illness is something that is not well talked about in the Black communities. There's a lot of stigmatism that goes along with it, shame, and all of the above. So, Adam, again, a shout out. I would like to give you props for, coming online and posting your video about your bipolar disorder and what you are going through, because you have actually given me the courage to do the same. And yes, we can be a valuable resource to someone out there who may be going through the same thing. The next video I'm going to make, because I have to end this video and do my duties. So the next video I'm going to make, I will go more into the technicalities of bipolar disorder with you guys, like more of the symptoms, the medication that can help with that, and things like that. I do have a lot more information because I actually have my BA in counseling psychology, and I am entering into a master's program for counseling psychology. Yes, I want to be a therapist because I want to help people, and I know what I went through with um, my disorder, my mental disorder, and I feel like I can be a valuable source to someone else. So, yes, got into psychology because I wanted to know what the hell was wrong with me, first off, and yeah, now it's because I want to be a therapist. I want to help people that have gone through or are going through the same things or the same things I'm going through or have gone through. So, which is the same thing I said actually about my paralysis and being in a chair. So at that note, I am going to call it a night. I did want to tell you guys, I'm going to get on a schedule uploading these videos. So I think what I'm going to do, we're going to do the weight loss Wednesday. So I'm going to post my weight loss progress on Wednesdays, and then probably on either Fridays or Mondays. I'm not sure. I need to see which when I have the most free time, but I want to post. We'll just say other videos on Fridays or Mondays, leaning more towards Mondays. And thank you guys for watching. Please share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace and blessings.